my friends, here we are, back with the Graduate Show. And this is always a joyful time. Today, we got about 7 people. Some famous people, too. We got Charlie Silva especially, man. Holy moly, that guy's been with us for a while. Let's start off with Fred. Fred, you can see, has graduated several times. All right? This is beautiful because you just start off with chess and then boom, you can do it. I don't understand this rating graph though. Gotta say, no lo puedo understand. So let's go look at what's going on. All right. So first, let's dive in here. So dude started in May of this year. Fred might have been with us for Dojo 1.0. Lots of tactics, no annotated games. I kind of remember this about Fred. And you can see Fred has done, I don't know what's going on with Fred. It says Fred's done all these different cohorts. That can't be Fred. That can't be Fred. Come on. Come on, Fred. Get serious with me, man. All right, but first, let's just see what they did at 600, 700. Did a lot of work, dude. Did a lot of time. A lot of tactics. So let's click on this bad boy. All right. Just looking. So everyone's first chess workbook, I guess. Dude, look at that. Boom. 245 hours. And this is going to be hard for me to judge. Look at all those belts. Because you look at games. There's no games from Fred G. And the rating's also not showing anything. So what might be happening, actually, let's go over here for a second. What might be happening is Fred is like working their way up through the ranks, not actually playing, but instead doing the requirements. Which is an interesting take. It's an interesting take on the dojo. Could be, for example, Fred might be locked up in a room and just being like, I'm not ready to play. And in fact, I'm just going to be playing, just going to be doing all these recs first. 926 Andy, thank you for doing that. Oh, Quad XC, cool. So I just did a vid yesterday, it came out yesterday, about the mindset book. Applied it to chess. Quad, I want to say the book itself, it's a little bit disappointing. I would say the last 10 pages were great and the first 5 pages were interesting. But like a lot of self-help books, it's kind of repetitive, dog. It's kind of repetitive. But there was definitely enough in it that I felt was interesting that made me think. So that was my response to it in the video. Okay. Does anybody know what's going on with Fred G? Anyone talking to Fred G? Look over there. One thing makes me think of the idea of somebody sitting in a room not playing, just doing the recs is I just today this podcast came out with our own Sam from the Chess Dojo. She's been on the graduation show. And in this talk, in this pod, which I think is really interesting with this Chess Journeys thing, is you really get a sense of like, how did they get into the game? How did it all come about? When did they start playing tournaments? Is that Sam was afraid to even play people online for the first year. She was into it through the Queen's Gambit and then was like doing bots, playing the bots, bud. Playing the bots. So maybe Fred is playing the bots, dude. I don't know. And also, like in terms of doing the recs, you can't do the program really without, doing game analysis. The Fast and Slow book, dude, that's one of the classics. That's an actual book that will change the way you think about things. Okay, so let's go back. Fred, congratulations, dog. Congratulations. So, next up, we have, I can't pronounce the name, but let's click. Starting in May 2023, that's when we launched Dojo 2.0, having enjoyed playing the game casually since childhood. Okay, cool. And now there you got a more typical rating change graph. You can see that's when they joined Well, actually, let's go see when they join the dojo. Whoop. Yep, May join the dojo. So that we take full credit for everything you see there. That's just the dojo, man. So cool to hear Sam talk about like how the dojo gave her a structure and, you know, gaining hundreds of points after doing the stuff in the program. Yeah, very gratifying because we bust our butt here, man. We're working. We're working hard to like put this thing together. There's technical challenges, dude. There's questions to be asked. You know, there's people wanting to do a bunch of different things, yelling at me, you know. So it's just cool when the ultimate result is people making progress, kind of like this graph. And you can see peers here. That's the basis of their graduation right there. Yeah, so 943, that is excellent. Let's look at the activity. And we're going to back it up one. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Actually, let's click here and see if they did blunder games. Yep, they did the blunder games. Fantastic. Blunder games is for people under 1,000 just to play some kind of quick games just with an eye of not blundering. Yeah, so that's beautiful, man. Even got some postmortems in there. Okay, and then tactics. One thing I've noticed is that in the lower cohorts, this Learn Chess the Right Way and the the other book that we have in there, the people are more into that than say the mates. It was really cool actually in the podcast. Sam was saying she did like 900 of the mates in two as like her main tactics thing to start off. Okay, so beautiful. Let's see if Piers has a game for us. They do. Let's click it. One thing I'm thankful for today is we don't have that many people. We only have 7, so I can be a little bit more luxurious with going over the games. Don't feel so rushed, so stressed. Loses a pawn. Bang! Thank you. Queen E2. Bang! Beautiful. Now we're really in charge. Bishop B5. Okay. Now, this is a little bit of a sticky moment, actually, because white is about to play d3, and then this pawn is going to come under attack. Let's say that's definitely one of the options here. I can't believe I'm recommending this because I like their move better. The other options would be bishop d6 or f6. Okay, pop, pop, pop. And this is great annotations. Great annotations, right? So white was afraid of the double pawns, but now white is simply losing a pawn. And it's a big pawn because it's a center pawn. And these are the annotations we want at this level. At a higher level, what I would want to talk about is your evaluation of this position, right? Personally, I think it's great for black. We're castle, we're up in development, white's king is loose, yada, yada. In any case, that would be the kind of thing for somebody who's a little bit maybe over 1,000. At this point, we are truly interested in just black taking the free stuff and not giving stuff away. Pooh Bear, thank you for subscribing. By the way, Kostya has told me, because he's a millennial, that it's now September, which means there's a special deal on subs. They're cheaper. They're like 25% cheaper, so give us a sub on the Twitch. A6. Okay, now, let me just say, the controversy with A6 is that you are not developing. That doesn't mean it's a bad move, but it just means we should be a little bit wary of it. Pop, pop, pop. White finishes development. Castle's very good. Knight D7. Beautiful move. And what I like about it is you are just holding on to your material, and it's meaningful. It is a meaningful material advantage. Thank you. And now you need a good move. Knight f6. Good. You could have also played queen d6. That's not doing nothing. Check to the miserable queen. g6. Oh, I felt that this doesn't weaken the squares around the king. Yeah, I agree with you. Now we're about to hit him with f5. Bam, baby. Bam. Oh, nice moves. Now seeing the fork as the white rook is severely restricted. Very good. Now f3, though, I don't think oh, I was like, I'm not in favor. Now let me just say, so he's going to win the exchange here. But when we look at it, it's almost like our pawns are worth more than the rook itself, you know? It's just so beautiful. But we're not going to criticize this. This looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and say this is a pretty high-level game right here. Pretty high-level game so far. Pooh Bear asks, I was watching Danya last night. Incredible position puzzle popped up during one of his vids. Do you want to take a look to see if you can find it? Maybe later, but right now we're doing the graduates. Okay, so one thing, I think that's a great evaluation with clear advantage to black. My own sense is you should be winning this position. But it is true that now you're going to have to work a little bit more for it. Now, one thing I want you to just see, this is more a grandmasterly thing, okay, rather than where you are, because I'm happy you took the exchange. But when we just go back to this delicious position, you can see that if you're white, in a way, you're a little bit thankful to shed the exchange to get rid of these monster pawns in our face, right? You're a little bit thankful because when this all goes down, his knight is going to be able to have access to e5, right? Whereas now the knight simply has access to nothing. Like imagine it's white's move here. Can they do anything? The answer is no, right? Nothing. So a basic move you could play is just building and say, what, white? What do you want? What do you want, buddy? But again, that's a grandmasterly thing. This is totally acceptable, even for a GM to do this. But now you need to focus on putting this dude away, and it's not necessarily easy. Queen d6. Let's read what you say. Playing too quickly, which seems to happen often after a change in winning chances. After winning the last exchange with a rook for my knight, I looked to exchange queens. It seemed good as I was attacking the knight at the same time. Now, I don't know if your queen d6 is a mistake. See, because here's what I'm seeing. This exchange you did with knight takes e2, white now has some positional compensation for their troubles. Now, it doesn't mean you're not doing great. I think you're doing great. But the knight is coming to e5 no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it. So I think queen d6 is probably fine. I think that's probably fine. And if I'm white, I'm really nervous about c5. Why? Because black wants to undermine the knight, plus I really want to open the position. So for example, I'm pretty sure that the best move for white right now is b4, just to stop that from happening. But you're doing great in that position, it's got to be said. Sample variation, b4, a5, a3, and then switch it on back. The rook is going to become active, right? Okay, so pop, pop. Good move. There you go, boss. There you go. That's not it. That's probably correct. The simple way to, I think, end this fool's life is pop, pop, and then pop. And the knight is fully undermined, as far as I can tell. Good move. I think it's the same thing. Now he said a trick for you. That was a dirty trick. We're going to call it a cheap trick. Okay. What is the trick? So this is a tactics thing, tactics problem you're facing, that this is a threat because of the pin. Okay. Now, honestly, I still like your position. But, right, we don't want to play CD4. What would have been a better move? One hilarious tactic is King H8, Queen F5, Gf5, Knight F7, whoops. So we do have to be clever right now. How about just Queen E6? That looks reasonable. Similar could be, actually Queen F6 runs into Knight D7, so even that's fine. That's also a good move, because on Knight D7 we have Queen D4, and we have that threat once we take on D4. So I'm gonna go for Queen F6 for 300, Jack, and say you're completely crushing him. Now, something that's very important when you're analyzing these games, especially for where you're at, is you want to say what is wrong with C takes D4, right? Or excuse me, what was the better move besides C takes D4? That's what you need to put into your notes. Notice, even for me, it took a little second because King H8 wasn't it, right? So nailing down those tactics is central to winning chess, but especially positions like this. So notice what I said earlier. When you took the exchange and let the knight in, I said, you're going to have a technical struggle now. I said, you're still winning, right? But you're going to have a technical struggle. And technical struggles are going to involve decisions like this, where you got to find the move Queen F6. And Liart says that Rook EF8 also makes sense. I agree. It also looks good. Okay, so CD4, Knight G6, exclam. Now, we got to say, this was already a bummer, but Knight takes G6, dude. That's like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Ooh, and then we have times here too, so we can actually see that you played this move pretty quick, and you actually had loads of time left. So a key part of your chess improvement is going to be using your time. Especially like here, it's clear that the guy's, he's threatening some kind of cheapo, you know? And then in your notes, what you should say is, like, maybe you saw this, in which case you could say, oh, I'm doing pretty good. But then you need to say, oh, I missed that one. Because that is, dude, that's pretty good, man. It's a pretty good move. All right, HG, Queen F5, and now you played Rook E6. Right, and you say that now you are a little bit better here. Maybe you are, but it is definitely a little scary because your king is loose. Let's just talk about this position for a second. Both sides have a problem. You have a problem in that your king is exposed. He has a problem because this pawn is very violent. This one is also violent. And this rook, like a lot of rooks that are lifted, doesn't have the ability to cover the first rank, right? It's, you know, it's like when you rush the net in tennis, you're a little bit vulnerable up there, you know? That's what that rook's all about. The good news for white, I think, is he has a pretty clear strategy of pushing the H pawn. One very important tactic that we have to mention is this does not work due to the intermezzo Queen D5. These are the kinds of things that needs to be in the note. That needs to be in the notes. Be interesting to see or wonder if either player saw that. Rook E6, personally, I like either King H7 or King G7. I guess I like King G7 best. From white's perspective, I would like to play H4. And then here's a fun variation, H4, what is it? Because I want that. And then if here, bam, oh no. But still, after h4, I could do rook f8. I could play rook f8. Now, let me say the obvious. After rook e6, dude should very much think about playing h4 because queen g5, not clear that that's necessary. And you say king g7, coming to support the pawn to free up my major pieces, but the mistake is it allows white to develop their attack with a potential check, winning an important tempo. Okay. Well, interesting question. I have my doubts here. First of all, again, you need to say what you thought was better. And we got to say this is a scary situation. For me, it's scary because of h4, h5, not because of rook b3. And then what scares me is on d3, h4, do I have a path out of this mess, you know? Because h5 is the hell of a drug, and I need to get something going with d2. Okay, these are the variations you need to cover. By the way, you guys, we are talking about a dude who's just started playing pretty good in the under 1,000 cohort and not dropping a lot of pieces. So again, I liked h4 for white. And here rook e7 looks good, but queen c7 is also thought for sure. h3 blocks the queen for their rook and diminishes white's attacking chances. Again, say what they should do. h4. Now I feel you're piddling, okay? You're piddling about. You need to start pushing the bad boys, right? Whether it's e3 or d3, one of those moves has to come. Here's an interesting variation. e3, pop, 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 pop. And now the question is, are we winning or not? And the answer is, I think so, because we get to go like this. Pop. Maybe it's not over yet. Dude finds this move. Pop. Whew, a little hot, Kraai. A little hot, buddy. Oh, man, this is really already hot. Yeah. Quad is saying people are playing quality chess in lower ranks. I went over a 1900 game yesterday with Nose, and they were playing some good chess, dude. They were playing some good chess. So this is like an example of the variations I want us to be thinking about. And obviously queen takes b2 is a thing here. But I really wanted more. I wanted to say queen d2, but it looks like it's not the joy that I had promised myself. So, okay, you have an example of what the variations could look like. We would want to and think about d3 as well. And note to our friend Benny that d3 or e3 have to be our moves because that's our asset, those pawns, right? So we need to find a way to get those bad boys moving. If they're not moving, we're just piddling about. And now d3 happens. Now that's a terrible move. That's abysmal. You can't play chess like that, son. So, correct. If they had taken with the rook, which maybe was their original intention, this would be disastrous. Okay, now we have what I'm going to describe as a problem-like situation. Problem in the sense that maybe we have a forced win and we have to figure it out. So first, let's look at what happened. Black, okay, white's in big trouble with the clock. So d2, and that was played, good think, okay. And then you played that one instantly. All right, let's talk about the rook endgame. When I see this, I'm not clear that you're winning this. And maybe, in fact, what happened was you missed king e2, rook b7. King e2, rook c1, rook b7. The fear is that you've encouraged, in fact, the white king to come help as the blockader. Okay? So let's just take a momentito for my friend Sofrito. Pop, pop. This pawn actually is annoyingly in my face over here. Yep.
I'm finished.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to do a walkthrough?
No, thank you.
Right.
Let's try this one.
I don't know where the trash chute at.
Hold on just a second, guys.
Welcome to Dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine did he packing. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If Sweatwork's what I...
Morrow is bad. Let's look at this amazing position. D4. Now, like I said, it's getting hot. Here we go, CD. And I can play rook d5, but on rook d5, I think the guy's going to live with king f1. I might come back to rook d5. Rook a5. No, because then this move, pain. So, if I go rook d5, king f1, rook d4, king e1. Got to play king e1 because I'm threatening d2. And now rook a4. And then the guy can survive with a3. So let's, by the way, like learning endgames, it's about studying your games in positions like this. Pop. We are close to winning this thing, but it's not a done deal yet. So we need a plan. Oh my gosh. I got some wild ideas in my head. And I'm not sure about my wild ideas though. No, maybe white's surviving this thing. Beimon is doing a variation I don't understand, but his variation goes with the game. You can play king f2 here too. And then he wanted rook e1, but we're just losing. He just takes us, bows. He just takes us, you know. And we are down a pieszka, as they say. Okay, so queen c3. Let's just say why it's anti-intuitive, first of all, to play queen c3, because the queen should be thinking about mating our king instead of trying to be scared. Okay? But maybe it works. And the real bummer is then this pawn is guarding this square and the rook gets to be behind. Let's think for just a half a second longer. Is there a way we could have done this? Hi, Pepper Chess. All right, one potentially dirty idea would be to play rook f5. And the intention there is to say that we're going to stop king f1 to e3 because of e3, and we intend this. And really, it's our king needs to somehow come up and be a shepherd of our pawns before the white king can get in. So rook f5 would at least pose some interesting questions to black. Okay, so as it was, this went down. And white, I would rather be white now, I think. Now maybe rook c2. Let's talk about rook c2. So this would be at least hot. White could play a variety of different moves here, honestly. A4. And then this probably should be a draw, right? But it's, yeah, so what we're going to say the obvious, you probably thought you were winning, right? And then you missed rook b7. So notice, first of all, your game is on a much higher level than what I would call 1000, okay? But the reason you lost this game were a couple oversights. King h6. In general, I want to head to the past, to the center, right? Okay, again, rook a1 maybe, but isn't this one stronger? Because this seems to force here, and then you get this bad boy, and then this happens, and yes, it should be a draw, but you're the one kind of in charge of this situation. Pepper, we're glad to have you back, dude. Tell us what happened. Things have gone wrong. Okay, here. As I said, this is the place to learn endgames, is your own games in situations like this. You must focus on the activity of your rook and your king. Okay? So we need to do something more active. And g5 doesn't really do anything. Both sides kind of waddling around a little bit. That was tricky. That was tricky, dog. And then, dude, can we just say something? This game was played at the under 1000 level, and both sides. I mean, king f3. That's somebody who's done some mates. Oh, sorry to hear that, Pepper. Sorry to hear that. Okay, so I have high hopes for Piers here. Very high hopes. You know, in the 800 to now in the 900 to 1,000 cohort, playing pretty high level chess, dude. I gotta say, dude, that is a pretty high level chess, right? Dang, dang. I'm gonna just put that out there because I do a little announcement on our Discord. So I'm gonna say Piers playing high level. Yeah. That's strong, dude. Okay. Look at it, Fred. Fred needs to play a game. I'm going to say that in the Discord. Fascinated by the idea that someone could be following the program and like not playing any games yet. Winesburg, Ohio. I feel like maybe we've done it at Winesburg, Ohio. Yeah. I recognize the name anyway. I can't forget that. I really enjoyed the book. Winesburg, Ohio. Read it maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago. Also a pretty nice rating jump there, right? Pretty nice. Jack told me that the graphs are, for the most part, or just the way they're constructed is like when you join the dojo, that's when the graph starts, you know? So, and it might be too that just because he's instituted this graph fairly recently, that it doesn't go that far back. So the cool thing about these graphs is like the longer the time goes on, the more richness they'll show for us here. Also so cool when you think about it, like there's many people who have different graphs that they could look at. For example, I have USCF and FIDE that I mostly just care about the FIDE, but it would be kind of cool to see both next to each other. And our site suddenly, oh my gosh, you can do it. Okay, let's look. Training plan, dojo member since 7/24. I could be just looking there instead of scrolling down like an idiot. And then we're going to go this one. Uh-oh, Weinsberg hasn't done a whole lot. I don't get it, dude. Wait a second. So, let me just go over here. It's kind of weird because it seems like they're updating a bunch of things, but then not getting any points or not having done that much. Let's see if Weinsberg's got a game for us. No. Okay. It's a little bit unclear what's going on because I'm not seeing that many points up here for any of this stuff. What is this? Yeah. There's something going, something fishy. Something fishy. Okay, wait, maybe I understand. So when they did, they've just gone up so fast that they haven't really been able to do that many. Did do 3 hours of mates in one, though. That's good. Okay. Congratulations, Weinsberg. Next up, we got Jules. I have a memory of Jules here. And let's see here. So this is the preferred one, but not much is happening. And there's your ChessCom. I'm gonna do something intrusive. I'm gonna go click on this Jules thing over here, and Australia. Okay, here we go, dude. Oh, I'm getting a lot of information, dude. I'm getting like how many days he's been online. Let's see the all-time graph here. Okay, there you go. That's pretty interesting graphics. Okay, so I just wanted to see what the graph was like. Now we get activity, and let's go back one cohort. Some good work. I'm going to guess they did more than 1 hour and 30 minutes, but they just logged that. Lots of endgame. Let's click on this. Good. So someone who has committed themselves to the endgame, at least it did some results. Tactics, what do we got? Some nice Polgar mates. 347 of them. Nice. Winning chess tactics. Puzzle rush. Puzzle survival. Okay. Good. So, let's see if we get a game here. We do. Here's Jules. So, this is when Jules in the 12 to 13. Okay. Terrible move. Yeah. Good move. And then C6. Now, I would rather not play C6. Okay, here's a great training thing. I'm actually going to come up with I'm coming out with this thing on Chessable for beginners about not giving away time. And so, for example, C6 gives away time. And then the question becomes, was there a way to not give away time? So one of the key things about chess improvement is when you give away time, you should feel bad about it in the same way that you feel bad about giving away stuff. Like nobody gives away stuff for free. And whenever their stuff is threatened and they're like, oh, do I really have, they'll ask themselves, do I really have to give up the stuff? Well, when people give away time, they usually are like, oh, here's some time, take it. Here's some time, buddy. Right? So then you would ask yourself, is there any way I don't have to give up the time? And then often you will find a way. So for example, here, I thought for a second, and I'm like, well, knight d7 bows. I'm developing, I'm threatening this, I'm threatening that. And if you take it, woe is you. Woe is you, my friend. You know, there it is. Okay. So, C6. Remember, a pawn is worth a third of a tempo. Okay. One thing that's that I can psychologically see here is this little shell is typical for the Scandinavian player. So you're kind of reverting to that shell. Okay. White wants to trade bishops. I consider it for a long time. Bishop d3 is a pretty good move, honestly. Ultimately, you know, it saves their king as well as maybe fixing their pawn structure. I wouldn't take that thing. No way. No way. I definitely play bishop g4. Because his king in this situation is a little bit uncomfortable. After pop, pop, now his king is fine. All right, now one of the things, I haven't looked at what white did yet. One of the things I talk about in this course is people castling and in the end game, and that being a negative tempo because the king has to later come out. So, will black castle short? We're going to yell at him if he does. They do. Knight d7, king c2, good move. Rook d8. Right, I'm going to yell at him because already I feel the short castles coming. Much stronger would have been castles long, so that at least then my king is doing something. Closer to the action of the board. Look at the white king. White king will be useful on c2. That was one of the reasons I didn't like taking on d3. Okay, what is white doing with a4? Giving you time. What should they do? d4, not even a question. Control some nice center squares. I don't like it. White snaffles the free pawn. I castle to safety. Oh, no. So you hung a pawn, and it's important to see that you've hung more tempi by castling. Moreover, I'm going to yell at you some more. I think this bishop a5 is at least positionally dubious because you could have hammered the bishop. Now, is the bishop dead? Forever? Maybe not forever, but for now. But for now, it's dead. And the challenge here would actually then be, well, how do I keep the king in the center? And maybe the answer is, in fact, going pop and pop. We want the king to be active in the middle of the board. So now you're going to, like, what I mean by negative tempi is your king now owes white time to come back to the middle of the board, right? Now, sometimes we have to castle even in the endgame, sometimes, but I don't think you did. Good move. Okay. A5. I like that move. I like it a lot. Now white has a choice. Rook takes is also plausible just to get his rook active. Okay. Okay. And here I think you should play c5. So you're doing it to prevent knight d7, but nota bene. On knight d7, you have cd. Now, let's talk about the situation. Time is also very important here because white needs just a little bit of time before they really constrict your business over there on the king side, queen side, excuse me. So one simple move that white could have done here would have been knight d3 to control this square, to stop this. That would have been pretty reasonable. At the bare minimum, you got to try to do c5. Good move. That's pretty frisky. That's pretty frisky, bows. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. My opponent abandoned the game in an act of poor sportsmanship. Well, the thing is, we're not even close to done yet, are we? We still got this move. And then I guess we're going to, oh, we got that. So wait, maybe the dude just truly understood that he was toast. But is it actually done? Maybe it is too. Let's look at this. I think it's let me put it this way. Even if white loses a piece, there's still chances of maybe not dying in this position. All right, it's pretty brutal, man. So we should definitely give more variations here, Jules, because even I'm like, maybe there's a way that they can survive. Like, let's imagine king a3, and now you have two ways of winning the knight. Rook a5 followed by knight c4, and rook a5, king b4. I guess he could play king b3 then. But you're always going to have knight d7 check. What's the problem, though? At the end of all that, there's, alpha the a pawn. Let's just say, dude at least should have thought about it a little bit more. Okay. I have to allow a thing here. Anyways, quad XE, it was expired and not posted to chat because I had the word as, he meant to say as completed, and it had two S's, so Twitch was like, no, I'm not allowing that. Okay, let me ask the question. This is from Quad. What if you have completed all the Polgars for the cohort? I just continue beyond the 1470 point, but still add the time, even though I have marked the Polgar assignment as completed. Previously, I just started over from the start. So, first of all, like, if you finish your cohort Polgars, you should be doing other things because you should trust the program and say, bows. When I graduate next time, I will do it next time, right? I will continue doing the Polgars, right? Okay, now fair question is being asked in the chat. Does rook a5 actually win? I'm just trying to tell you guys it's not easy for me to figure out just off the top of my head, okay? There's two moves, rook a5 and rook takes e5 here. They are both complicated because of the stinky a pawn, right? So for example, pop, 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 pop. And we just got to say it ain't clear, Joe. We're just going to say, Joe, it ain't clear. Nota bene. Who's winning this one? We don't even know. We don't even know. All right, let's look at the other variation. So, dude was pissed. I get it. He missed knight b6 and he was pissed. let's look at the other variation here. So, what did I just did? King A3. Let's go King A3 again. So the other variation would be Rook A5. I don't think this one's going to lead to joy either here, because then you got to go here, here. It's very similar, isn't it? It may be even. Let's go to A4 Kraai. That gives you a little bit more flexibility, so there's no dirty check. Yeah, who's better? Ha! Hey, Tukma, did you resign a little prematurely, boss? Somebody said I missed Rook B5. Maybe I missed something. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is not an easy one. It's not an easy one. So where are we here? Knight B6. What do you want me to do? Where did I do this here? So King A3, right? And so now there's two choices: Rook A5 and Rook takes E5. They both look horrendo. So, anyways, this dude does pretty good. Pretty good rage quit. That's a pretty good rage quit. So one hilarious thing, when I just to relax, I play Settlers Catan sometimes, and there'll be people who are so upset, and then they leave, and then a bot takes over, and it's not a rare occurrence for the bot to take that terrible position and win it. And those bots are not good, dude. The chess bots are really good, and I'll just tell you, the Settlers Catan bot's terrible, man. Okay, I'm going to potato head a question for me. Rook A5, King B4. Oh, yeah, that's even true. Here I even have Rook B5, but as we just said, it's still losing here after King A4. That's the bummer of the story of the knight versus the passed pawn. It's always a bummer. Yeah, so there we go. All right, Jules, great, dude. I'm doing good. Pretty good annotation, too. Yeah, good annotation. One thing I just want to point out for you, Jules, constructive criticism, is like a lot of people at your level, you're giving good verbal descriptions, but I'm not seeing any variations. And what the variations will do by forcing yourself, that's where you're going to see these tactics. Notice we just spent some good time trying to figure this out. And I can guarantee you, if I was doing this for myself, I would spend even more time checking and double checking, because I realize there's chances or possibilities of some real problem-like stuff happening in this kind of position. Okay, so that was Jules. And now we're into Doc Dave. And I get to read this big old thing. Here we go. Came back to chess after a 30-year layoff, played in the 1993 and 2023 World Open with nothing in between. Between these two tournaments, I have a broad career, raised 3 kids, traveled with my lovely wife, who is playing chess now too, and been blessed beyond measure. After completing my most recent schoolwork, I decided to pick up chess again. My results were not good in my first few tournaments. I reviewed the program and joined the dojo after the World Open, but really did not start working until August. I selected a lower cohort than I probably belong because I wanted to get started with some foundational items. I'm trying to be conscientious, but I probably do not record everything, especially non-dojo work. I enjoy working on things using the ChessCom puzzles and exercises, but the dojo focus has helped tremendously. I've sent many people to the dojo. Do you hear that, Quad? Do you hear that, Potato? You got to be sending people to the dojo, boss. I set goals every week for the work and try to enjoy the work. I found myself evaluating positions more systematically than I remember I did before. The tips on time and winning tempi, color complexes, and exploiting the differences between knights and bishops have me seeing things differently. I am seeing success, and the lights are coming back on. I like that metaphor. I've noted a little problem with releasing the tension in position too early and converting the advantage into the endgame and ultimately the win. I look forward to moving into the higher cohort and pushing the study and positional play. On a side note, I enjoy watching Twitch channels like Tournament Coverage, Jesse and the Putting in the Work endgame segments, and James Canty's puzzle work. I substitute them for watching TV. Nice. Hope to see you at the upcoming OTB. Cool, man. Cool. Doc's in the chat too. Doc, where are you from, buddy? Let's click on Doc. Maybe he even says. There's Doc. And there's the USCF. So we've seen in other shows, when we start coming up the ladder, we get more people using OTB as their preferred framework. And what we can say about Doc is I think he's older than me, dude, because my USCF ID is 1244 and his is 1220. How about that? How about that, Bows? He's a life member, okay. I'm a live member too, but that's only because they made me a live member, becoming a GM. You know? But otherwise, yeah, I was paying month to month back in the day when I was poor. Poor. Okay, this is great, Dave. I'm pumped. So lots of non-dojo. Let's click on the non-dojo. Chess media. I wonder if we can click on chess. No, can't click there. Click on the openings. Some openings and some rapid. At least it's not the evil blitz. You know? Now, first thing we need to do is this is 14-15. Let's see what happened in the last one. Okay. So this is some really great work. 84 hours. Mostly endgame. Okay. Let's click on what happened here. So a huge, you can tell, Doc Dave just spent a huge time doing endgame study, which is great. That is beautiful. I think already if I click here, also doing loads of endgames, still with going on with this Silman, right? Okay, that's all great, dude. Endgame heavy. You know, there was a dude, I think his name was Chess Lona from Spain, an American dude living in Spain. And he had this crazy idea that I guess he got from Neil Bruce, the Chess Punks guy. And it was like, he's like, I'm not going to play in a tournament until I study 3 years of endgames. like 3 years of endgames, boss. And he would like interview me on his podcast, telling me in all seriousness about his 3 years of endgames. And I was like, oh, buddy. I was like, that's pretty intense, man. Oh, man. Okay. Nice. All right, let's check out if Dave's got a game for us here. Got 3. Dave, you want to choose which of these you like? They're all against Paul King, though. Looks like they were all on the same day. Might be the same game. I don't know. Let's see. I'll change it up if you want. They are the same. Middle one. All right. So, this is the Alto. Very recent. I wish I had been there. This is Labor Day weekend. And my first attempt at game analysis. Round 3 of 6. Yeah. Okay. Let's look. Okay. Now, I just want to say this has more bite than its reputation if you play it well. In particular, you're just up a tempo, and so you can develop a nice attack. C6 is obviously not the best move, giving you time, and you return by giving him time. So what is the best move here? Knight f3 is the best move. You don't even need to think about it too much. You're like, yeah, knight f3 is the best move. And now you know I'm going to yell at you for that, Bows. I have played this move to break the symmetry in the past. I don't like pins, and I feel the tempo is worth it. Not worth it, Bows. No! No. You're giving away time. Now black is up a tempo. All right, 97. Man, these people, Bows, just giving away time. Man, like I said before, at this level, people aren't going to give you stuff for free, but they will give you time for free, right? Now, there might be like a past trauma that black has experienced here with the sack on h7. First of all, this would be the way to deal with it directly. Second of all, it's not true. Let me show you. A lot of white players have wound up here and said to themselves, I'm winning, bows. And then this bishop just crawls in there and you're like, oh, man, I can resign. You know, maybe I'll just resign. So, loss of time, loss of time, loss of time. It is the story of growth for people in this range from, and I did a series of videos on this. For once you're over 1,000, you're going to be, the main thing you're going to be facing is people who give you time, and then learning how to take advantage of that is like the key skill going forward. Weird, right? Why? Because ultimately a rook wants to appear on the E file. So putting a bishop here, no, doesn't help. So what would be better? Definitely either castles, bishop f5. Good. Good. Little funky. Now, why is it a little funky? Because I'm not sure where the knight's going. Right? So ask yourself, well, you're absolutely correct that the knight on d2 wants to go somewhere, right? And I think the easy way to do it would be to play queen e2 and then land that bad boy on knight e5. Land him. Queen e2 is a developing move, and I get it. Knight e5 is not, but he's a hell of a dude sitting on e5. And then our bro gets to go support him next. Benjamin Bach, thank you for rating us, dude. Thank you for rating. My friends, we are going, if you just joined us, we're going over, we're reviewing graduates in the Chess Dojo training program, people who have raised their game from 100-point band to the next. And right now we're looking at Doc Dave's game, and we're trying to wean him off, giving time. Knight f1 is very natural, but notice it's not clear where the knight is going next. Castles, and we're going to call that frisky by black. Would have been far more prudent to castle short. And now you just get angry, and you say, bows, here we go. Here we go. And he says, bows, here we go too. Now, let's just say rook dg8 is the romantic way to play the game, because it says that I am a genius and will later use my h-rook in on the attack. Now, as I said, though, before, time is important. Now, time is especially important here because opposite sides castling, and both players have a hook. That means both players have a way for the opponent to blast them open. So in that regard, if you're going to play the rook to g8, just start with g5, bows. Start with g5 and ask him the question. Are you afraid of g4? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about this move? Okay, it's a little bit of inaccurate. Now, a4 says I have all the time in the world. That's what a4 says to me. It says I've got everything. I don't know if you do, bows. Here comes g5. Here comes b5. And now he pushes past. Let me say something obvious. Imagine this. You're back here and you played b5, which is your other alternate move. If c5 now comes, you won a tempo over the line with a4, because it's not at all clear that a4 needs to be played in this position. Right? So, time is always important, but in attacks on opposite wings, time is especially important. You took. Now, the problem with taking is you liberate the knight on d7. At the moment, our pawn is controlling this bad boy. When you take, you free that thing. Okay? And you're right, I would have taken with the knight too. So, first of all, it's a very scary position. My first intuition is to play a5. Just to ask him, bows, how afraid are you of b6? How afraid are you? It's hot, though. It's a hot position. Okay, so he kind of blows it. And one thing I just want to stress, it has to do with time. Players at this level are often insensitive to the needs of their minors. So you're being insensitive by taking because you're freeing the knight on d7. Black, on the other hand, isn't even seeing that their knight could just get this great square on c5, and the bishop can continue doing its work over here. Okay. spice level 3000. And then you play bishop d4. Now, bishop d4 makes me nervous because you're encouraging dude to play rook hg8. And that doesn't mean your life is easy, though. It doesn't. And now, Dave, we're going to laugh at you a little bit, Bows. Well, okay. So this is what he says. This is why I put the knight on f1. Kind of, Dave. You had no idea that this was all going to go down. Let's just be honest. You had no idea that all this stuff was going to go down. Yeah. Let me actually contrast something for you. If you had played queen e2, let's just say he does his castles thing, which I think is too frisky. Now with your central play, it's going to be far more difficult for him to launch with g5. Far more difficult because you're just bringing in all your central power here. You know, it's going to be a lot harder for them to develop the attack. Maybe they should, but honestly, castles is a little too frisky here in this position. Okay, so bishop d4, g3. I am concerned about your health here. And now black needs a good move. He just goes for it, doesn't care. h5, and maybe bishop h7 is a cool move. Now, as I said in the last one, Dave, this is where we're going to need some variations. Yeah. All right, so here's a question I have. Rook g7. If you go back, you lost a tempo. If you take, then we have to evaluate. Rook takes. Knight takes. Queen takes. Now, am I absolutely certain what's going on here? No, but I am scared. So king f1 loses to queen f2. King h1, we're going to think about it for a second. Obviously, the heat is on. It's on the street. The heat is on. I don't know. Even this position is pretty good compensation because your bishop has to move and then there's, the party's just beginning. So from black's perspective, in terms of the attack, they should say, well, I don't really want to move my rook off the d file, right? And again, you could see, like, I just did this variation, which is just like a cursory analysis, and that's what you want in your games, in your analysis, right, to really go deep. So rook d8, this does not make sense to me. Knight e3, and now dude sacrifices the exchange. Or maybe it's not a full sacrifice, but he's lost the thread, and now your knight f1, well, that's looking kind of reasonable. Let's read your analysis. So with knight g4, you say a couple of lines, bishop takes, h takes, and dude takes knight h7. Now, knight h7 you don't got to worry about. To my head, it's just hg that's going to be the main concern. Now you did some good analysis. Let's look at hg with your analysis. hg, knight g5, good move. Thank you very much. And I don't think he has anything. Our knight comes back. Yeah. And even if you didn't have queen g4, if you just, as long as you bring that knight back, you're doing fine. So, now I'm sure you meant this, but we should put a question mark next to knight f8. And here's something that you learned from going over your own games. Mistakes come in pairs. So bishop h7, the dude kind of lost his mind. And now knight f8, no one understands, right? But what did you want him to do? He actually has a little bit of it. Let's just go ahead and say he missed knight e3. He definitely missed knight e3, right? A note, I was really enjoying this game. Good, dude. Good. Yeah. He is losing the exchange, though. I mean, you have won the exchange on this dude. Here's a path for him. So again, we should look for a way out. And I think he does have a way to not lose the exchange. So pop. And the point is, if you take this bad boy now, we say check to the miserable king. And then there's some questions being asked. If you recapture, however you recapture, then my rook can come back and I'm not dead. Right? So that's the kind of thing we want to look for. Thank you. Now we're doing great. We're just doing fantastic. Snips. Okay. Delicious. Okay, fine. Let's play queen d4. Yes, that's an easy and nice one to play. No one knows. Fine. Now we just need to deny some counterplay. And you decide to be a dirty pawn grubber. Maybe. It makes me nervous. Let's see if we can do better here in this position. So we want to put him out, and we don't want to allow any counterplay. That's not saying that what you did wasn't winning, but we just want to see if we can make it a little cleaner. My first iced coffee of the year, now I'll tell you, it is delicious. For one, he's not really threatening anything, right? Well, I don't see anything. Well, there's a couple nice juicy moves here for us. But okay, let's do what you did. I don't see anything incredibly jaw-breaking. I just don't, in principle, like sealing the pawn and opening the H file. He didn't do anything about it. And we got to just say, what a gift for him to play Queen C3. No, you're doing great. If he gives you that file, we're going to take it. Okay, fine. You're doing great. Look at this. Oh, buddy. What are you doing? Oh, man. Bam! That wasn't very nice. That wasn't very nice at all. Let's see. Just for a second, though. You could have also played, right, rook e7. Yeah, the point being that obviously knight e7, rook e7, and you're crushing him. Yeah. Okay, your move probably wins too. I'm just a little worried that it might be annoying to crack those knights. No, you're doing fine. Easy. Yeah, that isn't it. And now we're going to start marching. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Great. Let me also say these tournaments in Charlotte are really cool. I played one, what was it, like early June or something? Kind of, it was my warm-up tournament for all the senior stuff. And really enjoyed it. Might go back for Thanksgiving. This Alta tournament, they don't let the kids play. That's, what does it stand for? As long as you're 21 or something like that? Something like that. Yeah. At least 21. That's right. Yeah, that's fun. And actually, maybe I'll see Doc Dave at some of these senior events too, man. Yeah. Okay. Great. Oh, I'm pumped for Doc Dave. I think I would be interested, I've just been listening to Sam on her Chess Journeys podcast. I'd be interested in hearing Dave's journey as well. That'd be interesting. There's been, I was at that senior event this summer, and there were several guys who had retired and now they're all in. They're just totally all in. with their own chess improvement, and it's inspirational. You know, they're like, I worked for 30 years, had to give up the game, and now I'm back. It's really cool, man. It's really cool. Nice. The rating is way up. Nice, dude. Okay, great. Let's keep going. That was Doc Dave. And now we got a hero of the dojo, Mr. Charlie Silva. Charlie Silva's been with us for a long time and has done some of our beats in our vids and stuff, has done the sound, you know. So hero of the dojo. Let's see what he says. I'm enjoying the training program much more of late. I started adopting a weekly daily planner to break down the training program to make it easier for me to know what I will work on each week. I know Kostya has made versions as well, but I really enjoy making my own just using a Google Doc. I will add that this is the second time I am graduating, which is cool. I am not doing the classical games at the correct length because I am just playing the Elite Chess Pool on 30/20. I'm enjoying many aspects of the training program, and I think a huge aspect of my improvement stems from playing only one rapid game a day, one classical game a week, and devoting the rest of my time to following the dojo to the best of my ability. Long live the dojo! Que viva! There we go, boss. There we go. Nice. Okay. Let's look at what Charlie Silva's been up to. And right, this is Charlie's second graduation. That's pretty good, man. And I remember there was like a moment that was immortalized in the Chess Dojo Twitch history where Charlie made like, I don't know what it was, maybe 1,400 ChessCom or something like that. Anyways, this is pretty good. 204-point gain. And this is cool because it's showing a longer trajectory. And as I mentioned earlier, like, I think it's from like when dude joined. I don't know fully yet. I don't know fully yet, but I think like it has to do with when you join the dojo in terms of how far back it goes. ChessCom has just been neglected by Charlie, and let's just say the obvious thing. Let me just say something obvious. There's a lot of people like Charlie who are having a trouble even imagining playing either a longer game or going to a tournament because they are used to playing online and they can't fathom it. My student Jamil, case in point, it's just a real struggle. And so it'll be, actually I did this vid, came out yesterday about mindset, and there's a lot of players, I'm going to go ahead and say millions. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I'm going to say there's millions of pandemic players out there who are afraid of taking the leap to over the board. And the fear, if you want to use the mindset interpretation, is largely a fear of failure, along with all the new stuff, the three-dimensionality of the board, having sights and smells and not the screen nearby. People are addicted to their screen. So there's a lot of reasons why people haven't made this jump. And I'm just trying to encourage everybody that you don't have to play like a gazillion over the board events. But if you play just one, maybe even for Charlie, one a year, and annotate those games and get that experience, you'll see, I'm getting, my brain is getting activated in a way that wasn't happening before. Okay, so LLTT, long live the dojo. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's look at Charlie Silva. And that's their latest, so we're going to back it up. Good. Dude's doing a lot of tactics. What's he doing non-dojo? A little bit of blitz. Yeah. Okay, a little chess media. All right. And we'll go back to the cohort. So, let's see what's going on tactics-wise. Some mates in two. Dude has done 463. There we go. I like to see that. Some puzzle rush, some survival, winning chess tactics. Good. Good. And I think actually for Charlie, it probably was like a little bit of struggle maybe to like get around to reading a book, Let's click on 12 to 13, see what happened in that one. There he's doing more games and analysis, some tactics, endgame, opening. Good, man. Good. All right, let's see if we get a game here for Charlie. Now, sometimes we get a game like where somebody else did it, because Charlie's playing in these. Seems like hasn't been doing a lot of annotations. But let's get into it. This game was recent. Rated classical game. And Charlie Silva uploaded this. So here we go. From this position, I always go knight g5, knowing from experience and studying the various roads that can be taken. Okay. d5, ed, knight a5, bishop b5, c6. Many moves here, but yes, c6, pop, pop, bishop e2. This position has been played a gazillion times. Okay. Now, e4 is incorrect. All right. So let me just say, this is a very interesting position. I played this as white. Yeah, very fascinating position. And generally, Black plays h6 here. One cool idea with h6 is Steinitz, then Fischer, then Short experimented with this knight h3 move. Very interesting. Very interesting dynamic that can happen after bishop takes h3. The standard line is this kind of thing. That's the thing that's probably been the most played in this position. So Black tries to have it all with e4. Jesse doesn't believe. That's got to be correct. And now we need a good move. And Charlie plays d4. So d4 is a little weird to me. In particular, why would you play d4 and allow h6? You're like giving Black an extra option because d3 will force the capture, whereas d4 doesn't force the capture. So it's like now you're inviting Black to play h6 and give you a funky knight, right? Which probably they should have done. Okay, so pop, and I'm a little confused why you wouldn't take with the bishop, right? Take with the bishop, boss. It's in your way. It's in your way. CD, castles, castles. And I'm going to go ahead and say Mr. Charlie Silva is definitely better in this position. We're going to go ahead and say much better because what Black failed to see, and this actually happens a lot in this variation, is that they have a fundamental problem with the knight on a5. That thing is a chump, right? So we're doing great in this position. All right, knight e4. We're going to go ahead and say it can't be too wrong. But think about it this way. Dude is going to probably play h6 anyway. And your knight, it's not like it has to go to e4 like right away. So you have other moves such as, say, queen c2, rook e1. You have other building moves before you need to commit to moving the knight. That looks poor. Let's see what you did. Please take with the pawn, Charlie. Nice. Yeah. I preferred this position because I like the tension. I could start to mess with Black's psyche. Jeez, Charlie, take it easy, boss. Take it easy. We don't need you messing with our psyche, bud. What are you doing to my psyche, man? My psyche doesn't have anything to do with this. All right, I'm going to allow Quad's comment. Sometimes Twitch is so excited about things that Quad in particular says. Quad's probably on the Twitch list, Quad says, I'm a pandemic player. Last year I was in the local club first time. And I was garbage, but they were nice. Yeah. I got a few recognition looks and nods, I think. But nudes was somehow flagged. That was flagged. Better the psyche than the coconuts. So let me just say, why did I like bishop takes d3 earlier? because this guy was a chump. And then black, by taking on e4, just turned him into like a god again. You know? So now you're up a pawn, center control, and the knight on a5 is still a chump. Ooh, that wasn't a good move. So now you get, that's what you can say is it wasn't just a trade. It was like you got a free developing move there. b3. I'm going to give him big props for b3. Okay? Because that just shut the life out of the knight on a5. Now you could tell me, you could say, Kraai, buddy, weren't you just telling me, Bows, about how I shouldn't be making pawn moves? True, but look at b3 for a second. It is completely undeveloping this chump. That was Charlie. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Like a lot of people get excited about tactical moves and yada yada, and those can be fun. But for where Charlie is at now, if he's able to make the confidently controlling moves like b3, well, then he's on the path. I'm going to go ahead and say it. b3, even though it goes unnoted, that was Charlie's best move ever, dude. Right there, Bows. That wasn't it. I don't really know what to label this bad boy, but I don't care for the move. Now, what you should say, though, is why you don't like it. We do actually understand what he wants, I think. I thought he wanted to do this. He could also want to do this. So it's actually not the dumbest idea. One thing you should say, though, is this pawn was in the way of your knight. So the first thing that should come to mind here, Charlie, is bam! Let's hurt him there. And it still has everything to actually, even though, again, I'm moving the develop piece twice, it has everything to do with dominating this chump because he's got to take, and then we control that bad boy. And we have cut the bishop on e6 from this square, so we've taken that out of the equation too. And now c4, and let's read what you write. c4 sort of put a damper in my mojo. There you go. So that with knight d5 would have prevented c4. Frisky. And this doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. We're going to go ahead and say, though, knight d5 is an antidote to this c4 move. Yeah. And hanging the piece on e7, that really wasn't it. Dude, Charlie Silva's bringing it to the next level, man. He's bringing it to the next level. Yeah, knight d5 is pretty good. CF Beanie, thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Well, that's just a thank you very much. Now, if you don't want to give away the pawn, you could also play bishop c3. And then, well, I guess it's always going to... Anyways, fine what you did. Good move. Good move. Check to the miserable king. Oh, look at this. This is a yard sale over here, buddy. That's looking like mate, buddy. Might as well play bishop h3. What? I can't even read it out loud. He finds it in sports and like when I get a lead on my opponent, instead of resigning or trying to make their best move, they just make dumb moves, huh? Taste me. Welcome to the dojo. Yeah, he tanked his rating just to graduate a bunch. No, dude, I can tell you when Charlie Silva arrived at the dojo as a fresh young pup. Wasn't looking like this, my friend. No. He's a fresh pup. I wasn't looking like this. So, good job, Mr. Charlie. That was great, man. So, let's go I think we have one more graduation. And that's the famous It's Me. It's Me has also graduated more than once. Been around for a little bit. Got a 42-point gain. And is now just popped over the line at 1504. Okay, good. Lichess flatlined. It's Me will also encourage to play an over-the-board tournament. And then we're going to go back one. And that's pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Let's look what's going on. Modern Ideas in Chess. Good read. Okay, good, yeah. And let's click on Endgame. Good. Let's click on the Ye Olde Tactics. Oh, against some Polgar mates in 2. You see, Pruess, he's still too arrogant, dude. He's like, I'm a master. I don't have to do it. You know, I've seen it all before, man. You know, I'm a master. I'm never going to stop, dude. And what I foresee, and this is a thing that I've been planning now, plotting forever, is I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna win a bet at some point, and if I, my side of the bet will be if I win, he's got to do all the mate in 2s. And in fact, here's a funny thing, that he had an arrogant attitude about Star Wars too. He was like, I'm a communist. I don't watch Star Wars. This consumer crap, So I said, so we got into a different fight. This was 10 years ago. And actually, it was actually about the mate in 2s. This is long before the program, dude. It was even a glimmer in anybody's eye, okay? And he was like, they're too easy. I'm a master. I'm kidding you not. This goes back that far. They're too easy. I'm a master. And so I was like, boss, I'll give you one. And if you solve it like immediately and with the kind of arrogant flash, brisance, whatever you want to call it, in the zone, that you can do it because you're a master, then I don't even know what his side of the bet was. But I said, if I win, then you have to watch Star Wars, And all I got to say is that man made my Star Wars experience so unenjoyable just by whining the whole way through about how it was a dumb movie. It was like my son, if he doesn't want to eat something, even though it's delicious, he'll pretend like it's the most awful thing ever that I made him eat, It could be a delicious piece of fruit or something. That was Pruess's thing the whole way through, boss. Oh, man. Didn't I do the Polgar mates as an IM? Yeah, that was like 2005 that I did them all the first time. I've done them several times through. All right, let's go look into It's Me and Dinwiddie. I think Dinwiddie might also be in the program. So here we go. And so time control a little funky because they had to reset. Okay. So easy chess. Okay. Okay. Now we all know that that is not the most ideal. And so the question would be, and I don't know just off the top of my head, but could black get away with knight c6, queen b7, knight b4? Let me just say, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. But queen c8, now we have to be happy with the white position. b2, bishop e7. End of opening. Coming out of the opening, I think the position is more or less equal. White's pieces are mostly well placed. Okay. I want to go ahead and say I think you're a little bit better. You are up a tempo, and you have a simple plan of, and this pawn is better than this pawn. This knight's a chump. So, for example, when this knight does move here, we'll just use comparison and say that guy's a chump compared to our knight c3 knight. And you have a simple plan of putting this bad boy here, and asking the queen, where do you want to go, buddy? Okay, pop. Ooh, I don't like it. I just wanted you to castle bows and play bishop d2, rook c1. But you're giving away time. It's me. You're giving away time. And not only that, it's like, oh, now his stupid knight gets to ask you a question. So, originally my plan was f4. And f4, of course, is frisky because not a developing move. So you change it up. Knight e4 was also a thought. And there's also no big rush. Dude can also just castle, By the way, one thing I want you to really see about this is you have one bad piece, my friend. And you did it. You did it. No one else did it. You're the one who put the pawn here. And so put the bishop, castle, put the bishop on d2, fix your rook. The bishop has scope. It does do things. Now you're playing without that bishop. Okay, there's a lot of things I don't understand. One of them is why black refuses to castle, but here we go, knight c5, Queen e6 still refusing. I have a bad feeling. I was going to think they want a castle queenside or something. So dude plays queen g6. And personally, I like black's position better here. It's a little complicated. Yeah. But this is it weird? Rook c1, and then he's just losing his mind. As I said before, at this level, from 1,000 to 2,300, they will be insensitive to time. It's just like black is like, I don't know, Bows. And then, you know, what is it? Is it your king? Hey, Dinwiddie, is your king having like, paradox of choice? Doesn't know which way to go? It's going to leave it on the table, bud. You got to make a call, bud. You got to make a call. All right, bishop e1. We could debate that. g5, that wasn't it. And now b4. A good attempt at counterplay here by black, who felt that their position stated in the postmortem was pretty dire. Well, yeah, when you don't develop your business, your position's going to be dire. To me, it looks like he just hung a piece. Let's see. Now, good variation with f5, but I still don't understand why this doesn't just win on the spot. So, bishop g3. What's wrong with king h1, though, Bows? Like, isn't it just finito de la commedia after king h1? Am I missing something? Wouldn't be the first time I miss some, but I don't see anything here for dude. Gotta develop, Bows. That's right. Doc gave his work. My wife is working on the mates and ones. All right, dude. Yeah. No, king h1. I don't know what we're doing. Now, bishop g3, you're probably fine, but after h5, well, we got questions. And then black trades. You can't be trading, Bows. What are you doing? Can't be trading. Oh, no. Okay, so now we have a technically winning position, but we still have some work to do. Let's take stock. First, Kraai, how about you just count the pawns, huh? Why don't you begin like that? Dude's got 7. We've got 5. Our pieces look fine. You know, we're doing good. Knight d4. Oh, you know what's crazy about this? I have looked at this game before. I remember it now. It's funny, I didn't remember it up to this point. You'd think I would with all that back and forth, but I remember this bishop d2 thing. I do remember that, and I remember the pain. So we've already looked at this one. Time out. Kraai. That's it. That's the only one Dinwiddie's got. Maybe that was actually from Dinwiddie's... Hold on. That was probably from Dinwiddie's last graduation? Could that be? Let's go look at activity for a second. And then when did they graduate? So yeah, that was right before their last graduation, and we took a look at that game. Okay, so my friends, I'm gonna move on. We're gonna do this. I am going to take a quick pause, and then we are going to look. I'm gonna transition to something else I got to do. That's also hopefully entertaining. I need to. I realized I thought I had done it, but was this my mind tricking me? That I need to make sure that the upper cohorts have their cohort games set. I did it ages ago with the cohort games, filling those out. But some of the cohorts, I didn't have enough games, hadn't been submitted by that point where we're like, these games are good enough to go into the cohort games. So I've been on the scenes behind kind of fixing it. And what I'm going to do when I come back is we're going to look at potential good annotated games from the 1900 to 2000 cohort. So, my friends, I will be back in just a second.
Welcome to the dojo. Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to gloat when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Dicey. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin. Who cheated who, which engine
That
did he
ain't
hack? And
Mouse.
he got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong. He scored a like from Truon. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes. True, not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still, his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If Sweatwork's what I believe, ratings what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis. With lengthy game analysis, with sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world.
Scoreboard. We're going to go over here, mouse. And we're going to say over here. And we're going to change the title. Call this Hunt for Cohort Games. And we'll say 1900 to 2000. I think I need 4 of them. So done. L Twitch. Okay, now mouse. Okay, now mouse. I go games. I go cohort. I go 19-2000. I go search. Okay, here we go. I got 89 games to look from, and that's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. When we look at this cohort, I mean, it's pretty competitive. And let me just share something. One thing I think is interesting about chess improvement, let's just look at this cohort for a second, is that my experience with like higher rated players is they've been playing their whole life or a long stretch, and they go through periods of inactivity. And so one thing I've noticed just here, and then thinking back on the people I've known, is you're getting some inactive. See that last 7 days of a bunch of zeros in there? And part of it is, it's just so frustratingly hard to progress, you know, when you are at this level. Nose, dude, is going for it. Look at that. 594 hours, about done 7 hours in the last 7 days. He's at the top of the 7 days. He's not at the top of the last 30 days, but still, he's at the top. He's doing it. And that's the kind of dedication you need. And I'm just saying that because I know a lot of, let's say you're a GM like me, and you've done it all your life. It's hard to keep going and going because obviously be frustrated. Obviously life is calling at you. And then life also wants you to give chess lessons. You give a bunch of chess lessons and there's not, you're like, Bows, I just looked at chess all day, So I'm just saying, like, I understand even here at 1900, 2000, there's a potential for burnout. And these are the people really that need the program to be like bows. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. All right, speech over. Let's go to the games. Search. Well, actually, I'm going to give preference to people I've known. And let's go with Sean McIntosh against my friend Dave Vigorito. So he won game 4, only a few hours of sleep, pretty much make one blunder and then let him roll me. Let's go look. So one hilarious thing is, you're playing a dude who I think recently wrote a book on the Najdorf. He wrote a book on this, Betty. Okay, so bishop g5, e6, f4, bishop e7, pop, 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 pop. Yeah, g4 is kind of what I would consider the main move. I'm definitely not an expert here. This is just a blunder. I asked my opponent if there was a good general rule about how to react to h6, and he said, if you've played g4, you can take, otherwise you retreat or play something else. Very good, right? So let's refer to what Vigorito is talking about. This idea with g4 is developed a gazillion years ago. And the idea is that I'm going to take and push you back, right? That's the idea. And it's a little bit surprising, honestly, in the sense that giving up the dark square bishop is such a potent mechanism. But the reason it's potent is precisely because I get to go g4 and pop your knight away, right? Pop your knight out of the center, and then maybe use that to create tactics. That's the main theoretical, I would say, to my head, the main theoretical variation in the Najdorf. Okay, so pop, pop, now he's just better. Now, interesting question, is he a little bit better or is he much better? Maybe much better. One problem, let's talk about this Najdorf stuff. A problem for white is if you don't get anything in the opening, let's go back actually to this position. Black is down 3 tempi. 3, okay? And the only reason this opening kind of sort of has a chance of working at all is that black is going to claim that they can use their extra pawn in the center to dominate your minors, okay? So let's take a look then at this classic position. The claim is that both of these knights are kaput, right? That there's nothing for you to do, bows, because of my beautiful, beautiful pawns. Is it controversial? Yes, but that's the only reason that this opening could possibly work. You're down 3 tempi, bows, right? So you must hurt him now. So you don't hurt him, and now you're just going backwards. So like strategically, my boy Vigorito are arguably already strategically winning. I don't know. I don't know what it does. During the game, I thought this move just won, but it may actually be an error. I'm not finding a win for black if white defends carefully. Now, let's go ahead and say that my boy might have made his job a little too difficult. You know, let's say king b1, which I also am not a fan of. Is rook b8 really the souse? You know? I got questions. I got questions. Like, I mean, first question, does that work? I don't know why not. e5, bishop b7? I don't know. I don't comprende. So I'm just going to say there's some no comprende here for me. The man he's the expert. He's making it hard on himself. Check to the miserable king. Okay. So You wanted to play c3. And then you have this beautiful intermezzo. Dude could have missed that. Pop. Let's just say this is very tricky. If bishop b3, we have c2. Yeah, this is pretty spicy. I think white is just holding here. Maybe bows. Maybe. Interesting position. By the way, good variations. Actually, and let me just stress something here, that just to see a difference to the first part of the show. When you start looking at the higher rated annotations, you're seeing more variations. You're seeing more analysis, right? Very honest to the point. Let's go back. The artist checking me on my BS, which is not uncommon. FB5, that's probably a good point. Probably a good point. And I think Mr. Vigorito here, he's getting so fancy by not castling. Like, I would definitely consider castling here. But the point about castling is then you got to worry about G4, H4, G5. Okay. Jeez, man. These people are really fancy. Yeah, I definitely want FE6. Okay, so we are saying that C3 is the interesting move. And the claim is that white is not lost here. Let's say the first piece of good news for white is that on castles, this is a real bummer and a half. And actually you put it in there, good. So that's a real problem for our lifestyle right there. And it continues to be a problem even after that whole knight takes c3 stuff. So this is also alto. Oh, I should have been there, dude, to hang out with the Vigorito, man. Me and the Vigorito go way back. This is fascinating. Let's look at that variation one more time. Again, there's no castles short. It's a real problem for black. Still no castles short. Well, wait a second. Apparently there is. Wait, what's happening? I've lost my sensibility. Okay, beautiful. So what's the point? Now if queen f5, there's check to the miserable king and conceivably a mate because this rook is coming. That's fun. So that's why you're going to get this thing, and then you got to take. And then good news for black is that on rook c8, black can play bishop f5. I guess actually, no, queen f5, I got g6. And then the question here becomes, is there some way for black to intensify the attack on the dark squares? And it's kind of hard to see how. Positionally, we want to do that. Not the easiest thing, though. Okay, good. So queen e3, king f8. We're going to guess that you felt that that was an achievement for yourself, but the funny thing was he was never threatening to castle. And now he actually is threatening g6. Welcome to the dojo, buddy. That ain't it. Now we're toast. Oh. Yeah, that ain't it. Okay. So, good game. Again, what I'm doing here is I am looking for well annotated games. This is a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. And notice too what's going on. Like back in the day when me and Vigorito would play in 1900, I feel like it was easier. They definitely wouldn't be doing this kind of analysis after the game, the 1900s, right? The level is just a little higher. This is a 1900 level mistake, though. That's for sure. I also, now maybe like, for example, Bishop D3 is a move, but I don't understand Bishop D3. So in a lot of ways, too, it's a thing where mistakes come in pairs. Right? So that is definitely like an old school 1900 mistake. But again, the analysis usually not there. Okay, great. Jesse Febb, nice. Thank you for rating. 158 people. Dang, Jesse Febb, take it easy. We are looking for well annotated games in the 19 to 2000 cohort to put into our cohort games. That is the best annotated games in a given cohort, 100-point band. And that will then show people who are in that band, or maybe just interested people, what good games, good well annotated games look like at that level. Let's look at Here and Now. Also, big time Dojoer has been here for a while. Dojo Liga. Nice. All right. Here we go. Here and Now is playing. All-time variation. Okay. One thing that's a little interesting about this position for me is that the reverse position can happen in the C3 Sicilian. Yeah, knight C2 definitely weird. Let's just you just blocking your queen. You didn't have a tempo, and I would say for my sensibilities that would be the position I was most concerned about for black. In the reverse color situation, black takes and queen takes, and we have ourselves an interesting game. Of course, white is up time because they are white in this position. That ain't it. So the cup is guilty of insensitivity to the pieces, in particular to the queen and the rook. The knight is just simply in the way of everybody. Okay. So, bishop f5. I was paying attention to the pressure against my slightly extended center, and I wanted to avoid d3, ed3, queen d3, when I felt my d5 pawn would come under too much pressure. Okay. So, obviously, castles short is one of the key moves. And a move that would require some balls, a move that is easy for me to now say, oh, that's what I might do, but would require some balls, would be h5 here. To really say, Baus, you've blown it. You've blown it with your stinky knight c2 thing, buddy, and I'm just coming to touch your coconuts, h5 would be a hard move to meet. Let's just put it there. Whenever they do something weird, that's when you start thinking about the H-man. H-man. And Liard's talking about d4. Also kind of interesting, yeah? So what black has a lot of interesting opportunities. Bishop f5. It can't be terrible, but the thing is, like, d4, ed, it's not that bad for white. They do d3 anyway. Yeah, why wouldn't you just play d4? I'm with you. Give him one chance. Don't give him two chances. Now, here's a funny thing. Now, white White could play these people. White could play d4 here, and one hilarious thing is maybe they should. And here and now is talking about de4, and maybe that's also fine. But already, I think when you play bishop f5, you're committed to taking this thing because this is suddenly a reasonable French for white because he's going to trade off his bad bishop, close the structure. I didn't say his legs, I said the structure. And then it's like, God, there's some problemitos in the casitos. You know, that's a nice structure for white. As you say, though, de4, also annoying. Just playing to do our thing. So bishop f5 was weird, and then not taking was weird. And then I assume now you took. No. Pop. Pop. Pop, pop, pop. We might come back to this in a second. 94. Okay. So, this knight c2 move put you on tilt, and then you just ended up sacrificing your center. e5, fair enough. Now his knight does something. Okay, now let's say something obvious. You have bishops of opposite color, which it's honestly it's in white's favor, the bishops of opposite color. And the reason I say that is that he can always block you out with e3 later. That said, we need to be hypersensitive to the fact that we have this bishop of opposite color. ChessDojoLive rating us. I just love saying dogs. We rated ChessDojoLive yesterday. So I think ChessDojoLive, thank you for rating us. Bishop d4. If you don't like bishop d4, you should tell us what you like. You are in an unfortunate situation, no doubt. So, the cup. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of queen takes there. Actually, I got some real confusion here. So, why are we taking on d8? Black wins a tempo. This happens. And then, why aren't we taking on ye old b2? g6 happens. Black wins on time. Here, unfortunately, my opponent disconnected a second time. Oh, man. So I expected knight b7, rook b7, bishop c6. Yeah. Lessons. I need to focus on the center and on very direct and simple play calculation. Yeah. I think he put you on tilt, too, with knight c2, dude. I think you saw that. It was correct. Not a great move. But then you were like trying to do so much fancy to take advantage of the knight that you kind of lost the thread. And the fact is, it's an awful move, but it's not necessarily. A lot of times, white makes a nasty move, and unfortunately they're not just immediately lost, right? Unfortunately. ChessDogs asks games analysis. Yes, we are doing what's called the hunt for the cohort games. So we do 5 top annotated games from each cohort so that people can see in the dojo what a well-annotated game in their cohort looks like. All right, let's go back. That was here and now. We've got a bunch by Macintosh. Let's look at Tim Peta's. This is, looks like an Israeli event. I don't know if that's true. So here we go. I should really stop playing like this. Well, you know. I don't know if black gets a clear advantage on dc4. You know, the computer might say you get a clear advantage on dc4. But you definitely will have some compensation. All right, so now we've transposed to more normalish stuff. CD5 is playable. And now you're getting to a QGD where you have the option of 92. So actually very clever. Good. This is a line that's a little funky. Castles, 96, bishop h4, and now an incredible loss of time with h6. So black did a very fancy thing, but they didn't know why they did it. They didn't know why they did it. Yeah. So this position, this whole variation, I feel, if you want to learn chess or learn about it, the Kasparov games from the 80s are just amazing with this 92 setup. And generally, if you're going to do this whole pirouette, the magic for black is to do g6, knight g7, bishop f5. I know, it's very highfalutin. But that is the intention, and h6 makes no sense. f3, good move. This is the standard play. Castles, and now bishop c2. And you're right, queen c2 is the more principled move. But this is pretty violent, what you're doing. And he has definitely broken the rules, broken the law. So maybe. One thing from black's perspective is if I'm black, I still want him to do a g6, knight g7, and then maybe bishop f5. I mean, it's going to be a pain. It's honestly going to be a pain. The other thing about bishop c2 is you also now can threaten e4. So black is like losing the strategic battle big time. Okay. Now, you analyze knight e4, good. And the one reason to really analyze it is then to ask ourselves, well, is that possible? And I'm going to go ahead and assume not, because of pop, pop, pop intermezzo with the scherzo and the mezzo, if you know what I mean. Okay. Yao Q asks or says, I want to thank you for the Graduate Show review. It really gave me insight in my chess and how to annotate. Good, dude. Good, fantastic. So queen d3, and now I want him to play g6 followed by knight g7. And now we can play e4 if we want to. Dude says rook a d1. I'm fine with that. Now we got a choice. Fine. h3. Now, the reason that he does this, and this is very typical, is you don't want to allow what he says. e4, de, fe, knight g4. So the other way of doing this, I think h3 is probably fine. So you could also play king h1 so the bishop could drop back to g1. Okay, he's getting a little frisky. Wait, did we have to allow all this? Wait a second. Because I feel like it's time to party now. That's what I feel. So rook fe1 is not what I want because the rook might well be active on the f file. For example, e4. Check to the miserable queen. I go back. Okay. And then what is he going to do? If he takes, my rook is going to be pretty angry, you know? So at the very least, I'd want to look at this variation. Okay, so a little bit passive. I don't comprende that. Okay. I don't comprende that. Okay, now we're doing great. So black, remember what I said earlier. It's not just the 1100s. It's the whole path from 1000 to 2300. Just giving away time is like it's nobody's business. Now black is, I think, strategically lost. As I said, there's a couple games from Kasparov in this kind of position. Now, you play queen d3. Can't be too bad. I want to immediately play f4, f5, so my first instinct is definitely, can I play knight h5? It looks crushing. And he loves it. He's just going back and forth. It's going back and forth, Bows. Oh. Now, one thing is he should have taken on e2 when he has the chance, because now the bishop on a6 is hitting nothing, and we have another attacking piece over there with the knight. Sure. This is the positional crush we've all been. This is all what we. There's been a lot of games like this, my friends. A lot of games that look exactly like this, and black is just like, what? What happened, man? E6. Yeah, so there's many ways to finish this. White says, let's imprison these fools. Dang, take it easy, man. Take it easy. You don't have to be so mean all the time. Okay, beautiful. Wins the queen, probably. Thanks. Yeah, no, it was crushing. Absolutely crushing. Okay. I want to know where Mechelen is. I don't know why I need to know, but I need to know. City in Belgium. There we go. City in Belgium. It makes sense for a dude named Tim Paytas. Okay, so let's see if we can find somebody we haven't done yet. Let's look at half-lives. All right, so avoiding the scenarios where black gets counterplay against white's center. Okay, black plays passively. Okay, interesting position. I like the notes so far. Good, I like that you put in the times. Okay. Now, one thing I know about this kind of position is that the Slav stuff is harder in this kind of position because it's harder to achieve c5. Why? Because the bishop is not over here, right? And now you find a very nice move, b4. Thank you very much. Yep. Thank you. Nice positional chess. I don't really understand knight b6, but I don't have any great advice from either. Okay. Now we want a good move. Yes, I do not like. Let's read what you write. I'm able to trade off my bishop. Oh, you don't want to trade off your bishop. Oh, no. So we definitely, that bishop's great. You know, I get it. It's technically your bad bishop. But notice that black has the own problems with the knights. Both of the knights want to come to this square, d5. Yeah. If you were going to trade off the bishop, I guess this one, but trade it off for this bad boy, but not interested. Okay, so I would say a prudent move here would be bishop h2 or bishop g3 to get out of the smackaroo. It's going to go down when knight d5 arrives. Oh, don't do it, Bows. Oh, no. Oh, no. Bows? Oh, no. Now, half-lives, listen, bud. If you watch this on the playback, just feel my pain with what you've done. So let's talk about the crimes that have happened here. Beautiful position. You're working against a terrible bishop. His knights, you have better center control. You know, you got great grip going on over here. His knights only have one square, and you have more space. So your bishop's glorious. Look at this thing, looking into the black position. Look at all these tasty, tasty coconut squares. And so, no, we don't want to trade that thing off, man. Because black has less space, they are thankful for the trade. And also now you give him the dark squares. Now that bishop on f6 really is a standout. Knight e5. Okay. Now that is not his bad bishop on g7. That's his good bishop. We know which one his bad one is. All right. Black wants a good move here. I don't know if I understand or like knight e5. So, with a lot of arrows. Well, if I was black, the first thing I'd want to ask is, how do we feel about this position? Yeah. Black's, I don't know. Also, we should note that bishop e7 wasn't dumb either. Not that we want to take on c5, we just want to put a little pressure on the Tesher over there. Because black will have a little bit of counterplay later now that we've made this trade. Okay, so queen c7, I'm not sure I understand that move. f4, you're just going for the gold, bud. You're just going for the gold, dude. Queen c7 really wasn't the greatest square, but now I assume knight d5. No. Rook a7, okay. Well, you just put your rook on e7, bring the other one over, bud. Is there a threat on e6 or something? I don't know. Holy moly, a lot of fancy things are happening. Okay, time out. So, let's go back. And you talk about bishop f3 here. Let's just talk for a second. We go back. If I am black, for example, would I really want to take the knight on e5? Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do. So that's a question number one. f4, I feel like maybe you're giving black some dreams of counterplay. I don't understand why you wouldn't play knight d5 here. There's that. And then if you're going to play rook a7, then you got to be thinking at least about rook fa8. And you're saying knight takes e6? Let's say I believe you. Okay. And then I like what you're criticizing here about e4. So e4 now really weakens the dark squares. And you're going for like the big kabooma on like e6 and stuff. And right, maybe something like bishop f3. On bishop f3, you still have to answer some questions though. So for example, pop. No. It might be hard to break through, though, as black also has counterplay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know exactly what's happening here. There's reasons to think that unless you have something, actually, we have to say that we don't mind black's position at all. Right? You actually have to have something. Okay. So let's look at this game. It's all ugly. Black is just committed to the ugly. I don't understand. I'm not sure I understand. I really don't like it. don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Frisky. Black's getting frisky. Why are they getting frisky? Yeah. The rest was easy. Okay. Now, even though I criticized some of the moves, that doesn't mean I criticized the annotations. Because it's pretty good, dude. You have some good words and you have some good variations here. A little bit confusing with the 2 minutes because I don't know what the cumulative time is, you know? But this is pretty good, dude. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feature this game. And let me just describe what that means, a feature. I feature it, and then when we go recent, you can see the games that have been recently featured down here. Yeah. Okay, the featured games. My friends, I got to take a break. I've been at this for too long. So, we're going to rate somebody. It's either going to be Lafong or Renga or somebody else. I don't know yet. I like to raid weird people. That's the truth. Let's raid somebody weird. Let's raid Lafong, dude. Let's raid Lafong. I was just laughing because Renga. You're not weird, Renga. I'm weird. Thank you, Doc Dave. I'm pumped to see your progress, dude. And yeah, I'll see you at some over the board stuff. Definitely, dude. You should go to the senior events next year. The senior circuit. All right, we are rating Lafong. If you haven't checked out the Chess Dojo training program, now is the moment, my friends.